also seen, particularly in the last week or two, and I've been writing about this with my colleagues at Associated Press, willingness from more and more Republicans to start distancing themselves from him. Certainly, he received a lot of criticism for his handling of this Russia matter and the bounties, but also we saw yesterday, it felt like a tipping point in terms of the issues of masks, where it now seems like every major Republican figure out there, from Mitch McConnell to a lot of state governors, nearly all are now endorsing the use of masks, saying, look, this is the number one thing you can do to keep you and your family and your fellow citizens healthy during the time of the coronavirus pandemic. We even saw the vice president wear a mask over the weekend. Donald Trump is sort of almost alone on this, on an island, in terms of refusing to wear a mask in public. And I think there's going to be there's real pressure on him from other Republicans growing to change that. The sense in the White House and the Trump reelection campaign is frustration. We saw a little bit of a shakeup last night. Michael Glassner, who's been there since the 2015-2016 campaign, he was one of those in charge of putting on the rallies. He was basically demoted last night in the aftermath of the Tulsa debacle, where they only drew 6,000 people after saying they got 1 million ticket requests. Now, some in the campaign have said he's been made a fall guy here, that it wasn't totally his fault, but this was Jared Kushner's decision, and Glassner has been pushed out from that key role. They're trying to reimagine what rallies could look like. They clearly underestimated how fearful their senior voters, particularly, are of going to a space, particularly an indoor space, in the time of the pandemic. And they're trying to grapple for a message here. The attacks on Joe Biden to this point haven't landed, whether it's about China or Hunter Biden. Now it's about his mental acuity, and that doesn't seem, at least to this point, to be an issue that's gaining any traction either. They're still sort of scrambling here for a message. And you're right, Joe, there's growing chatter among Republicans and political operatives. It doesn't seem to necessarily be based on any inside information, but growing wonder if the president is going to stick with this, particularly if he can't reverse the slide in these poll numbers, can't find some sort of message. And the real number is the economy. If the economy continues to slide, that takes away what the Trump campaign feels like its best and maybe only argument for re-election. If it continues to falter, you may see more and more Republicans break from the president.
You know, and just sort of a minor thing, Joe, but not only is Trump on the wrong side of the mask issue, and a lot of people on Twitter and whatever are talking about why. Why can't he wear a mask? Is it the makeup? What is it? Why is he uncomfortable about it? And it's really poking into an area where it's getting into an area where he's uncomfortable. He doesn't want to be seen as weak or as, looking strange or whatever. Joe Biden was ridiculed the first day he wore a mask by Trump people. And you know what? It hasn't stuck. It's cool. He and his wife, when they have to go out, perhaps to do something to recognize the troops, they're wearing black masks. And at this point, they found a way to weave it into their everyday life because it is a part of the reality of staying safe. So President Trump's on the wrong side of the mask issue scientifically. He's also revealed himself to sort of be embarrassed in an area that I think bothers him more than anything else.
Yeah, there is a real weakness there. Joe Biden, it's interesting, Joe Biden came out at the end of January and talked about how America wasn't ready for a pandemic, for the coming pandemic. That was in January when Donald Trump was saying it was one person coming in from China would be away soon. And he said, let the doctors and the scientists handle it. Biden was right there. He was, the next month, Donald Trump was still saying it was 15 people and was going to go away soon. And it's the same thing with masks. Joe Biden wore a mask when he went out.
Wore it.
Mocked and ridiculed by a lot of Trump people. You're now seeing a lot of people wearing masks. Most Republicans are wearing masks. Liz Cheney showing her father in a mask.
Real men wear masks.
Mitch McConnell's office, by the way, sent us something because we were talking about people not wearing masks. Mitch McConnell sent us something. He's been since the end of April.
Early May, end of April. He's been pushing masks and wearing them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some Republicans who've been standing with the president, but not Mitch McConnell. That in that area, I yesterday misspoke.
So very good for him doing that. But Casey, whether you talk about masks or whether you talk about the civil rights movement that is moving forward right now, instead of the president doing anything to become part of that very relevant dialogue, again, His Twitter feed looks like a local crime blotter thing. He's got this obsession with statues. And Jonathan said that if the economy doesn't get better, things will get worse for Donald Trump. But I think the bigger problem for him, and I think you're starting to see it on the Hill, especially with how Republicans are responding to the coronavirus, is this president knows. He's the guy that said it was one person coming in from China. He knows as the numbers explode, as we keep breaking records every day for the pandemic. He's the guy who not only said that back in January, February, and March, but also said in April and May that this was going away. We wouldn't have it in the fall, that it was going to go away magically. And Donald Trump is now looking at a fall election where every single day he's going to be seeing infection counts go up. He's going to see the death count going up. And that's just something that he's not going to be able to get around. We've said it from the very beginning. Don't run against a pandemic. The pandemic will always win. And that's what's happening right now when you look at those poll numbers.
Joe, as these cases have been spiking and as Republicans in the president's party have been watching this meltdown, the president has been focused on almost anything but this. He has been tweeting, he retweeted his supporters, one of which was yelling white power. He went golfing on Saturday and Sunday. Overnight, he threatened to veto the defense funding bill because it would rename some of these bases that are named after Confederate figures. And Senate Republicans are looking around, and we have talked about this over and over and over again. There never seemed to be a breaking point. What was going to be the breaking point? This is the breaking point, because if the president continues on this track, the economy is not going to recover because he is not solving the healthcare crisis. And Republicans are going to lose. And it's the president's fault. That is just the simple reality that they are grappling with. The numbers are falling out from under them. One source told me yesterday, if the president is his reelect is airing ads in Georgia, which is, yes, potentially someday a swing state, but not necessarily right now, has been historically Republican. Things are not fine. Things are absolutely not fine. And that number that you underscored at the top of the show, I think, says everything. I mean, who in this country? Everyone is miserable right now. Everyone is miserable for all, their own personal reasons, and a lot of people have it a lot worse than others. People are angry, upset, they're scared, they're worried about their family members, and the president doesn't seem to have any answers, and any Republican that is currently elected is having to answer for what the president is doing. They are trying to distance themselves now for basically the first time in the course of this administration, and, they're not going so far as to necessarily hit the president, but I think we can show you some of the comments about masks specifically, where I think this issue is standing out the most. We've mentioned a couple of them, but the tape, I think, is pretty clear. Take a look.
If you're pro-Trump, you don't wear a mask, and if you're anti-Trump, well, you're more likely to wear a mask. But that makes no sense. I mean, it actually would help restore the economy if we contain the disease, and the better the economy is, the better off the president is, I would think, running for re-election. So it makes no sense. So I hope the president will help us just get rid of this mask politics. It hurts the country, and it doesn't help him.
What we're all trying to demonstrate for everybody in the country is the single most important thing you can do, not only to protect yourself, but protect others until we get a vaccine. Put on the mask. It's not complicated.
Wearing the mask is the best opportunity for us to keep this economy open, keep us working, keep us safe, and help us as we build towards that vaccine, where we're in a much stronger position than any other country before. For the 4th of July, we could all show our patriotism with a red, white, and blue mask going out there.
My goodness, even my Kevin, as the president calls.
Or Steve.
The minority leader, Mike Kevin, even Mike Kevin has found religion on masks. But Willie, we've been talking about this every day. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.